Well, glad to be here. I'd just like to share with you my image of online design for today. I guess as educators, we're all facing vast amounts of media and attempt to make sense of what's going on. So, unfortunately, I had some good colleagues in my background that have set me up to deal with some fundamental stuff and basically making things fun, making them work for the learners, creating opportunities for people to explore their learning. And so Jana there in the center is key to that for me. But of course, it's nice to have those practical things grounded in some theory. And I think that the idea that there's no best method, that we can come to this from different angles, and that scaffolding is essential for student success. And of course, being networked with the web heads there doesn't hurt either. Moving over to instructional design, which I did recently from ESL, the classical principles of Dick and Carey and Robert Gagne's 9 principles, and of course the effective aspect of work with Keller's materials have been important in the design of courses. In terms of the specific design of a class, starting with the end in mind, getting the big picture, designing assessments to meet those needs of the students, and making sure the tasks are scaffolded again along the way are important in models there too. But of course, we're faced with this change today, and one of the ones that everyone's aware of here is that the role of technology and the role of computers, and how this is affecting our students and our understanding of what their needs are. So there's also a challenge in terms of new theories, and connectivism has certainly been big in terms of making me realize that knowledge can be distributed, can exist in networks, and having access to those networks is vital, and the students can have access to those networks. So this has kind of shattered a few connections and made me think of what's important. And certainly some of the guidance that we get in the media, in the social media, isn't always helpful, and it's difficult to make sense of how these different parts play out. And certainly one thing that I've experienced is in my workplace is the idea that we're facing students who are tech savvy, who are able to manipulate different social media expertly to connect to these networks. And I found that this idea, my experience, is now being supported by the research of Mark Bullen and Mike Eisenberg here has recently published some research suggesting the biggest issue facing students today is negotiating that vast amount of information that's available. And how do we do that? So I think at this point, it doesn't make sense to throw out our instructional design baby with the bathtub. It makes sense to perhaps reconsider some of those structures, some of those experience, some of that guidance that we're all familiar with, and come to rethink this and enter Howard Rheingold's idea of creating a social media space that's integrated, that's not fragmented, and doesn't cause students the issue of going to different spaces and dealing with these new technologies when it's not always clear. And in terms of instructional design, in terms of revisiting this, Marie Sontag has suggested an interesting theory, bringing into play again those core instructional design models, and looking at it in terms of how we can access and utilize the internet experience here. And this is her model, and you'll see that there's the scaffolding process there, Wiggins and McTighe's backward design, considering the big picture, but also this idea of lunging, lurking, and linking, and accessing those internet networks out there. Another way to conceptualize this is by Alec Kouros, who's presenting in this series here, on thinning the walls, that it's good to move beyond the classroom space and to look out and forge those connections and make use of those networks, because they're certainly valuable. So in terms of the actual design of a course, then it's the fundamentals still of being present in an online course, accessing higher order thinking skills through good questioning, and the work of Palov and Pratt and Judith Botcher here are worth checking out in terms of that. But when you come to a class, when you come to sit down, then I think Wesh's advice to consider a grand narrative for your students, to consider perhaps the world as a spaceship. We're on a spaceship traveling through the world, and to see ourselves in that type of grand scale. Some other key aspects of the course that I think are important are this idea of authentic assessment, real-life tasks assessing real-life skills. That's Bernie Dodge's WebQuest kind of image there. And this image of learning as a cathedral, it's something that we construct, and it's grand again. So this kind of is leading to this image, an image of online learning today, and what is it, and how do we make sense of it? And I think there's a number of things in play here. There's the experience that we've had. There's the connections that we've started to make, and there's the coming together of the ideas that we can gather from those conducting research. But I think ultimately it's about the network. It's about the people connecting with people. And so I'd just like to say thank you.